a lot of people never really looked at what was really truly going on in our bodies and saying is this really normal or not? Because I do believe our hormones, when we can really truly understand what's going on in our body and appreciate the fluctuations of our hormones and actually help support our hormones naturally, women no longer have to continue to suffer in silence every month.
Welcome to the Stress to Success Shift podcast with Dr. Irene, where you'll learn powerful tools from world-class experts to bounce back from burnout and shift into success mode in all areas of your life, in career and wealth, health and energy, relationships, and personal life. Welcome to the Stress to Success Shift podcast with Dr. Irene. And today I have Kate Vasquez with us. She is a functional medicine physician assistant, founder of Radiant Health, and an award-winning author. She helps high-performance women to reclaim their health and vitality to become the confident leaders, wives, and mothers they aspire to be. She created Break the Cycle Bootcamp, the Radiant Method, and wrote a bestseller, Estrogen is a Bitch. I'll just say it. She has it nicely with an asterisk there, but I'll just say the word, to teach women how to naturally balance their hormones, use their cycle as their superpower, and reconnect to themselves at their highest level so they can create a life by design that they love living. And I wanted Kate here today for these very, very reasons. So when I talk about success, those of you who have been listening for a while, you know that I don't just mean career and wealth, which is the traditional, what people think of as success. No, it's success in your health and energy, in your relationships, in your personal life, and yes, in your career and wealth. The challenge is that we women are faced with this conundrum that is unique to us, really, truly. And that is, how do we find that balance between our professions, our callings, even with healthcare providers like Kate and I are, with our families, with our personal lives, our health, and then, life happens and throws a wrench into the works with our hormones. And it can feel like our hormones are running the show at times. And that's why I wanted Kate here to help us make some sense of it and give you some practical tools, tips that you can walk away from here and put into action right away. So welcome, Kate. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just so honored and blessed to have this conversation with you today.
Oh, trust me, it was my pleasure. And so let's talk hormones. Let's talk that something special that women deal with right from the time, whatever age it starts, until past menopause, right? That we women are constantly sometimes feeling like we're at the mercy of our hormones and our cycles. And so I would love for you to talk more. And I know I'm giving you a really, really broad subject here that I'm throwing at you. And I just know that you're just going to pick and choose something out of there that's going to have total meaning. So how do you help high-performing women traverse life successfully, their health successfully, with how you approach it?
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a great question. And as you mentioned, by the time we hit puberty until go through menopause, our hormones are constantly fluctuating every single month. And as you mentioned, a lot of us are at the mercy of our hormones, and we tend to be suffering every single month from developing PMS symptoms, which, unfortunately we were told was normal, and just kind of suck it up and, take some Advil, go put a heating pad, But a lot of people never really looked at what was really truly going on in our bodies and saying is this really normal or not? Because I do believe our hormones, when we can really truly understand what's going on in our body and appreciate the fluctuations of our hormones and actually help support our hormones naturally, women no longer have to continue to suffer in silence every month, because it does impact our ability to show up and perform our best. And I can speak from personal experience. I was once on birth control from when I was a teenager all the way until my early 30s. I actually just finished it a few years ago. And that was to clear my skin because I struggled with acne, which was hormonal, a sign of hormonal imbalance because birth control actually suppressed my hormones, which cleared my skin. But I didn't realize like the long-term effects that it would have on my body. So once I came off the birth control, my hormones went crazy. And for the first time, I was having really bad cramps and irregular cycles and breast tenderness. I was gaining weight. But when I would have my period, it was very debilitating. And I didn't feel well, couldn't function as well as I normally did. And I normally have like a lot of energy throughout the day, and my energy was very low. And I'm like, what is going on? This is not normal. And I can totally relate to that because as a high performing, as a entrepreneur, I needed to be able to show up every single day. And it was actually preventing me from doing that. So I really looked more into our hormones because I was in functional medicine at this point. So I started diving into the hormones, learning about the different hormones in our body and how to best support them. And I realized that my estrogen and progesterone were imbalanced. I really needed to support the metabolism of estrogen. I needed to support progesterone because it was so low from being suppressed for so long. And progesterone's our feel-good hormone. It's what helps us keep us calm and happy. And it also helps us sleep at night. So really helping to support that to bring everything back into balance made such a huge difference. And I realized the same thing was happening in a lot of other women as well. It was impacting their life and being able to be the best that they could be, for their families, for their jobs, for their, significant other. So I realized once I figured this imbalance in hormones and able to support them naturally, it made such a huge change in my life and so many other women's life as well. And the reason being is because once we can really get the hormones back into balance, we can actually get the hormones to work for us and not against us. And I really truly believe that our cycle can actually be our superpower when we can really tune into the fluctuations of the hormones, because our energy is fluctuating throughout the cycle as well. And when we can tune into that, we can really use that for our advantage, because for example, during the menstrual phase, when all our hormones are low, they're at their lowest baseline level, our energy is going to be lower there. So if we can understand that, that's actually time to not necessarily take time off and go on a vacation, which in an ideal world, that would be amazing if we could go on a vacation, when we have our periods. But it's a time to really delegate things, pass things off to people, let people help you during this time, because this is a time that you really need to nourish your body, make sure you're consuming whole foods, getting in some rest here and there, and also self-care. Self-care is going to be huge, especially during the menstrual phase, because if you can take care of yourself during the menstrual phase, you can actually show up and perform better the rest of the month. And then as you go from the menstrual phase into the late follicular phase, the energy starts to increase because your hormones are now starting to increase, especially estrogen and testosterone. And when that happens, you can actually have a little bit more energy to start doing more things again. But I always warn women, I'm like, don't go and tackle everything at once, because that will lead you to burnout, especially if you're pushing through the menstrual phase and the early follicular phase, late follicular phase, you're going to lead to burnout. So it's, you still take on some things and get creative during this time and start new projects. That's the best time to do that as well. And then as you move into ovulation phase, that's when your energy is going to be its highest, because estrogen, testosterone is peaking. You're going to feel on top of the world. And this is going to be the best time. If you need to do a meeting or a presentation or meet up with friends, family, this is going to be the best time because you're going to feel your best during this time. And then as the energy levels start to decline after ovulation, you're going into the luteal phase, because now all the hormones are going to start declining again. So this is the best time to really knock off the things on your to-do list. And again, just be careful. Don't overdo it and push yourself during this time. So if you can really understand the fluctuation of the hormones and your energy, like I said, you can really use this to your advantage and really help you to perform better, because men, they don't have this gift. They only operate on a 24-hour circadian rhythm, which we have a 24-hour circadian rhythm as well. But then we also have this additional monthly rhythm that we can really use to our advantage.
I love it. And is all of this in your bestseller, Estrogen is a B*TCH?
Yes, I do talk about the different, actually, I talk about the different phases of the menstrual cycle, and not just also I talk about the best types of self-care for each phase. I also talk about the best types of food to eat to really help support your hormones in each phase, and also the best types of exercise as well, because I'm guilty of this. I used to like go to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week, and I would lift heavy every single time. I would run like 4 or 5 times a week. I used to do a lot, and it was a lot on my body. And I realized like I started burning out just from exercise alone. And I was actually getting sick all the time. It was affecting my immune system. And once I learned and discovered I was overdoing it at the gym, I started cutting back on some of the things. But then when I really learned about the fluctuations of my hormones and recognized that, oh, I can actually match certain exercises with, like, for example, in the menstrual phase, do more yoga. And then I can start doing a little bit more weightlifting, weight training in the follicular, and heavier weightlifting in the ovulation phase. And then going back to like more gentle movements in the luteal phase. And that really helped support my body too. My body was able to recover better, and I felt stronger, and I wasn't burnt out as well. So just really understanding, the fluctuation in the hormone and things that you can do to support your hormones in each phase is going to be very powerful. So yes, I definitely do talk about each of these things in the book, but I also created a handout that goes over the different things, like things to do and things to not do during each phase as well. So the listeners can definitely get a copy of this handout.
Wonderful. So that'll be in the show notes, folks. So be sure to download the handout from Kate and get her book. It's on Amazon. And I really want to highlight a few things that you said, and I'll go backwards just because I'll deal with work through what you said last. The physical burnout that you can have from over exercising, and that for many people, not just women, can seem counterintuitive, because that's not what we're programmed to do, right? Like we're programmed to look up to like Iron Men, right? And like those elite athletes that, train 5 hours a day and it's understanding. And that segues into the second point that I loved what you were talking about, is listening to your body, understanding your body, honoring your body. And because again, everyone knows they should do self-care. And why don't we do it, right? It's because there's a shame, a stigma that is, goes back millennia of, for especially we women, that there's like this shame, right? It goes back to those times where in, civilizations and cultures that, you were unclean, that you were dirty, right? Because they didn't understand that you were possessed even, right? They didn't understand that it was a normal bodily function that is very, very necessary. And so even though science now knows, and I know as a functional medicine practitioner that you are on the cutting edge of that science, we may know fact-wise what's needed, and yet the programming that's inside that's shameful, that's bad. I have to push through because I'm bad, stupid, or lazy. I'm a weak female. I need to prove, and this is I'm speaking to my high-performing women out there, right? That we have to prove that we're as good as any man, and that we can do anything that a man can do. And I'm not going to be the one to tell you can't. This is about honoring and allowing, like, working with your body so that you can do more. So it can seem counterintuitive to dial it back in order to do more, is what I just heard you say.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think too, like the reason why I pushed myself too was I also was instilled from my father, like, you need to be independent, not rely on a man. So that was another thing too. That was just like, okay, I need to like build my strength, be strong so I can just like take care of myself. But there's so much beauty in, like, yes, you can take care of yourself, but also receiving help too. And that's what a lot of us women, we are martyrs. We are very nurturing. We want to take care of everybody else, and also like just take care of ourselves and make sure like we don't get hurt. But we're also not good at receiving love from others as well. And so that's another thing that that I discovered too on my journey and healing my body, but also working on healing a lot of these different like mindsets and beliefs that I had accumulated from a childhood. So, but yeah, it's once I realized that, I know I'm diving off on another topic, but but it just goes to show like sometimes when we're like pushing ourselves, it's always good to ask like why am I doing this? Like what am I trying to prove? Because I think that was a powerful thing. I realized like, okay, yes, I'm pushing my body, but it was actually hurting me in the long run. I was burnt out, and I realized it was impacting my health, my hormones, my immune system. And in order for me to achieve longevity, health and longevity long term, I needed to make a change. And once I realized that, it better supported my hormones, better supported my immune system. Like I stopped getting sick all the time. It was incredible. And also improved my sleep, because sometimes, exercise is great for sleep, but too much exercise, it does impact sleep. It increases inflammation in our body. It does impact our hormones, and so many other things. So it's always good to have that nice balance. And I realized too, I really liked being like lean and strong, and I thought that was the only way to do that, but not at all. I realized once I started going into more like yoga and lighter weight training, not really necessarily pushing myself all the time. I was still weight training, lighter weight and more reps. I still was able to maintain my muscle mass, and I actually didn't gain weight, and I still continued to be lean and strong. And so I was like, wow, I've been pushing myself all this time when I could actually just change, and just made a change and actually support my body and support my hormones. And I still was able to maintain the lean muscle mass that I have been wanting to maintain and achieve, long term. So I just want women to realize like, especially when it comes to our weight too. And that's another thing, women will push themselves in the gym. They will restrict their calories and push themselves in the gym just to maintain that optimal weight. But if you're not losing weight, especially doing those extreme things, there's reason that it's not happening. There's imbalances in the body that need to be addressed. And that's something that I look at with women as well. Is it a hormonal imbalance? Is it because your adrenals, like too high cortisol? Is your gut a mess? There's so many different things that can impact your thyroid. Are you more hypothyroid? Like so many things can impact that. So I want women to realize like the answer is not to restrict your calories and push yourself at the gym. Even as a high performing woman, we want to feel good and we want to look our best, but there are different things that we can do to really help support that.
Absolutely. And you had me like for the listeners on Apple and Spotify, I was doing the Hallelujah chorus thing. I was like nodding like through the whole thing. I wanted you to keep talking. It was awesome because you were speaking my language, right? That's why we talk about the stress to success shift and understanding that stress can be not just mental and emotional, it can be physical, chemical, environmental,
Absolutely.
right? And that includes hormonal, and that also includes temperature changes. It can be hormonal changes. It's
Yes.
the importance is understanding how it's impacting us, and then we take back control by using it. As it is, I loved how you said it. It's our superpower, and it's programming. It's programming, and one of the things that I talk about is that I realized that my catastrophic burnout happened because I was doing everything right. Like I was eating right, I was exercising, yoga, meditation instructor. I did it all, and I still crashed and burned. And I realized that it was the unconscious programming that was setting me up for failure. And that's what we women really, really, truly need to work on. Guys, I love you. My listeners, please keep listening because I know you have women in your life that need this. Yeah. And it's important to know and understand that we women have different and unique challenges and much of it, at the root of it, is our unconscious programming that we've been taught. Right. So that it's wearing us down even faster. So I love it all. And so give us the name of your handout again that everyone can download.
Yeah, it's using your cycle as a superpower. So that way they can look at the different phases and know what they should do and not to do during those phases to really help support their hormones and even increase their productivity, efficiency, performance, and during the month, especially during each phase.
Wonderful. So everyone, please download it. Guys, get your mothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, daughters, everyone to download it so that they can learn how to best use it and benefit from it. Get Kate's book, Estrogen is a Bee, *TCH. I won't say the word again, actually, because I also want to make sure that you actually like spell it right for when you go onto Amazon. And again, that will be in the show notes. Thank you so much, Kate, for being with us today. I really appreciate you so much. And I know that you have opened up some eyes and ears in our listeners, and that they're just going to start looking at things just very, very differently from here on in. So thank you for giving them more insight and tools to use so that they can shift from stress to success in their health, energy, and hormones.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today, Irene.
Take care. Thanks for listening to the Stress to Success Shift podcast with Dr. Irene. Please head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. By doing so, this will help us reach more people with our message. Be sure to visit www.drirenekopp.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. And keep listening for more insights and tools to empower you to shift into success mode and enjoy life to the max.